Transition. Good enough transition. We did it. Okay, hi everybody. For those of you hanging out in chat today, we're trying to do some stuff. Oh yeah, we had this and it was so cool.
Yeah.
Fuck, I gotta save that. Fuck that. We're gonna do this live. Hi friends, we're doing things. We're trying to make it happen. Give me just a second.
Korth? What's Korth?
What? Where?
I don't know. Pull it. What does it mean?
Oh my god. What? Paul is possessed. He's saying terrible demon things. I'm terrified. Oh my god. Paul, it could mean anything too. We don't know. So hey everybody. We had unfortunately some last minute cancellations. So you got me and Nate here hanging out.
Hi.
Hi. We're gonna get Nate on camera in just a second here because I forgot that Nate had made a really cool world building overlay, because that's what we're doing today. Give me a hot second here because we're editing our shit live today, so we're gonna turn off that. Nope, that's me. Let's put my face back on there. And let's add a fancy new overlay. Image. World building overlay. Oh, this is what happens when we last minute we had to wing it because we didn't want to leave you guys without a stream. So we're opening the floodgates here, and mind you, like fun thing, Search Happy in chat there's one of the Friday players, and oh boy do they know some shit. Like he's one of the new live game players. Yeah, they know some shit because they are set 20 years in the future at the end of what is known as the impermanence era. And obviously you guys are in the impermanence era, so there is some shenanigans afoot, and they know all the things. I do love a good shenanigan. Look at that gorgeous overlay. Just
it's pretty.
So I should put my camera down. Yeah, that's the overlay. Grab the camera, put the camera down there. And I should put like the screen capture behind it a ways. I don't know. How should I do it? Just like full screen it like that and say fuck it?
I mean, I don't know. I think what I did was like I squished stuff down because I had like multiple screens up when I was like for that top half, but I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
That makes sense. Let's do this live to make it so you guys can view it. Yeah, it's pretty sweet little overlay. I was happy with Nate who made it, and we always thank Nate for all the cool shit that he makes. So I guess that means I gotta turn on this other monitor now. Give me 1 second. We're just gonna. So while I'm fucking around with the visibility here, if you have Cyorion questions, we can answer them for you. But I've got a couple things that I want to build out, and now I'm just gonna, with this extra time here, we're going to use it to build out a couple things. Like we've got some cities on the way for these fellas and ladies that they're going to be interacting with. Let's grab Nate's camera here sitting next. Hey, Red Samurai. Oh shoot! No. Firefox, stop it. Got it. It was being a bastard. I was trying to
That's asking a lot.
I know. I just wanted the chat up so I could talk to people, and we're gonna put Nate way over there too, so we can capture him. We're doing this all super live. It's great. It's just the best because I know what I'm doing.
Are lizard men canon in Cyorion?
Yes, lizard men are canon in Cyorion. They exist. I can show you where they exist in a moment here. Where the fuck is Nate's camera? Oh god. Of course. It doesn't want to capture it at all. Because it's looking for the wrong voice. There it is. Because we switched channels. Oh no, I can't do that.
Oh, that's right, because it's usually the other one, huh?
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna remove that. We're gonna do a new window capture called Hooked Up Quickie. There we go. That's exactly what it's gonna be called, is Fucked Up Quickie. Nice. Bloop. And then we're gonna Nate. Hi Nate.
Hi.
Let's send Nate to the back a little bit too. Get out of here. Don't cover up your awesome thing there. And then we should totally just grab that chat capture here and let the chat hang out with us.
Yeah, hi chat.
Hi chat. There, the chat exists now. Yeah.
Welcome
I don't
to
know.
existence. I'm
I don't
sorry.
know. I feel like I'm gonna Google Korth now because I just need to know Korth. Korth makes guns.
Yeah,
So no, guns are not gun. There's a Korth revolvers, and no, guns are not. Revolvers are not, like modern revolvers are not canon in Cyorion. You have to make your own.
Oh,
No, you can have guns. Actually, there. Jaeger is living proof that there's guns. You should continue to doodle awesome outfits because that's what's important.
oh yeah, she's going full tilt gothic, like fluffy, everything, poofy sleeves. It's a nightmare.
That's not a problem at all. We love that here.
I know it looks great. I weep for her wrists, but apparently she's alright, so that's good. I know I would not be. Korth is a lizard?
Korth is lizard. That's not Korth is a lizard. Korth is lizard.
I'm dyslexic. I can't read.
I'm assuming Korth is a character, so
Okay.
we're gonna go with yes. So let's grab a window. Let's grab a world map. Not that one. We want that one. So we'll grab this guy for you really quick here, so we can see all of its awesomeness, and we'll send it to the back a little bit here. Put it in the world building group. World building group. Go down here. Shablimp. There we go. And let's grab a couple other things that I'm working on here. Let's grab notes. Notes is obviously the greatest thing to have that we want to see. All of Ben's crazy notes. Pay no attention to the madman.
They're fun.
They are
Definitely
wild.
not concerning.
I think I like my graph view my favorite in this because it's just a hot mess of notes.
Yeah, that shit gives me anxiety. I can't.
I love it so much. Korth. Okay, so Korth is a sneaky lizard. We got it now. We know it.
Okay.
Yeah, lizard folk in Cyorion are from the Vundrold lowlands right here, which is an area at the edge of the Ashahoya Desert. This kind of this whole region here is where lizard folk and kobold are from. Yeah, there's a couple other fun things in there, like the city of Takala, little mediocre settlement for some of our live players. Gustot's over here too. Gustot's a fun metropolis. Yeah, Gustot is I envision it. It's built out the side of a mountain, and I see it as like Warhammer 40k orc gears and gas, and it's built by kobolds, goblins, and gnomes and lizard folk, and they are experts in mechanical and craft and black powder. Like, so that's what they do in Gustot, is make things that go boom. But yeah, a lot of lizards hang out in Gustot. And then there's Coral Bay right there. But that's the Vundrold lowlands is a key focus right now for the lost city of Neritria, which is the live game that's going on right now in Pathfinder. Oh, huzzah. There it is. Chappie knows that place. He just ran from a bunch of corrupt militiamen in that place. He knows them. So we do have a new kingdom coming out at the end of these campaigns. It's actually in progress now. Little known to the players of Monday's stream, the death of Simiposi has caused an uprising, and the Akuros of the Aegorni towers, those big towers in the Silvered Expanse, they have decided now that since Simiposi's dead and like the rest of the world's still out there doing shit and like it hasn't fallen to ruin, they're like, well, now that our entire religion and meaning of life has like been turned on its head, maybe we should explore a little bit more. And so they are bringing their airship technology out to the rest of the world, and they're nationalizing up there. So this area is still under like Akuros rule, and they're trying to come together as a kingdom. But yeah, that's their place now. Yep, Aegorni Towers has airships, and you know, there's another game that gets to interact with them again very soon. Our friends on the Sunday game. Yeah, they are. They don't know it yet, and none of them are on here, so I can say that because I know 2 of them are brand new, busy with a new baby, so they can't really talk about it right now. I'm moving my notes behind this other view, so that way all my like titles of all my different articles in there are not visible. You gotta be smart about it. All right, let's grab one more browser capture because I know we've got so much shit going on. Foundry. Oops, crap. Wrong type of browser capture.
That was the no browser capture.
There we go. That's the one we want is Southern Katala. Dinks, and you move over there.
There she is.
There we go. Now we got all sorts of stuff. Josh is a little busy right now. The reason we're not hanging out with them right this second is well, I should have not been stupid. We're gonna be messed up for a second with a do. Let's capture the right thing here and get you back to where you were. Nope. Stop it. There we go.
I'm sorry.
There we go. It was just being a pain in my butt. It did not want to participate properly. What happens when we're editing layouts on the fly, trying to make it work. We need more Nate, front and center. There we go. Josh may be joining us, but he is working hard right now on some he's doing some big data stuff with Sarah. So we are letting him keep on working because he's got a lot of stuff going on there she's got a cool thing that she's up to over the summer, and he's helping her with some of the big data stuff. So they're a little busy since we had the night off, and they're working on that.
They're doing a science.
Those are some big floofy sweet sleeves. Holy crap.
Right?
Yeah. Oh man, I don't envy your wrists. That's a lot.
Yeah. I saw that. I was like, holy shit. All the lines.
Yeah. Working. They actually are. They are working. Nate and I were hanging out in there for a bit trying to figure out if we were going to do like a world building stream tonight. And they are legitimately working to a point of where we're like, we're just going to go to another channel because this is really distracting to you guys.
we're a nuisance. Sorry.
Us sitting here memeing about stupid shit like make your data pink. We want to see all your stuff in bright pink because that's the best. Yeah, this map is fun too. Aside from
first ass Photoshop skills.
Yeah, those were my super cursed Photoshop skills to get all this working right.
Oh no, mine. The thing I sent you.
Oh, did you send me something else? I don't have my Discord.
No, just the first thing.
Oh. I got you.
Just distracting them from focus.
Oh no, that's the best. I don't want to show it because it's a total spoiler, so I can't.
Yeah, that's
but
fair.
It's fucking amazing. I hope you sent that to Sam.
I have not yet. I should do it.
Send it to Sam.
Why not?
Sam, the thing you were working on was oh, thanks Matt. We love you. Thanks for subscribing for us for another.
Oh, cool.
I don't have my alerts on this one. I'm a dick. Hold on. Time to do browser capture. Alert pop up. We need that. Yeah, thanks Matt. I knew it would still be in the queue. Sam has been doing some art for people, and Nate got the first hit of it, and it looks fucking awesome. And then I was like, why is he so sexy and serious? Oh, because apparently when you put on the winter fit, you get sexy and serious, and then it turned into Serious Soren with all of his big guns.
I just photoshopped his face onto the cover of Serious Sam.
It's so good.
And now I want guns. And I wanted guns before, but no.
I went on to write a page or two on that vampire stuff for your world, but ended up losing it all. It was a cool city. Oh. That's sad. You should have written your vampire stuff. I would have loved it. makes me sad when people have contributions and then they end up not being able to get around to them. But I understand, busy life and stuff. So failed us for the last time, Bullet.
That sounds like it would be cool to read.
It would be. It'd be super awesome. That is true, Sam. Assassin's Creed Hood and eye black does make people super hot. I would be a fat guy in the Assassin's Creed outfit and stuff too. It'd be all like tight and chubby down here. But if you panned up just to my head and like above the shoulders, you'd lose all the chubby funny down here, and it would just be like, oh, that's really sexy because of the eye black and the hood. Like, oh man. And then you'd pan out, and it'd be someone playing the recorder version, the off-key recorder version of Assassin's Creed with a picture of me. Assassin's Creed drive-through, yes.
It's Ezio's family, but like on a kazoo.
We love it. Good stuff. So I guess let's talk campaign 2 stuff first, because I can sit here and world build these little tidbits on this side, and I got to put up some cities over here because there are some. I just haven't mapped them. Obviously there's some really, really obvious ones, like, hey, there's a city right here where these roads meet, and hey, there's one right here, and then there's one right here, but they're just not on there yet. I think you guys are going right here to Brisbane, which is located right there.
How do you spell that, by the way? Because immediately I thought of Brisbane in Australia. And
Brisbane. Brispon.
Okay. Got it. I was like, there's no way. There's no way.
I should. Man, I would wear Assassin's Creed robes to the golf course, but in Alabama, I would die of heat stroke.
Yeah, very quickly.
The leather and me out in the sun, it like feels like 90 degrees. I would just be like, I would be dead. It would not work well for me.
Bad times.
Absolutely. So campaign 2, for those not in the know that are hanging out with us, I don't even know, just got 6 friends in here hanging out. Cool. We're switching to Pathfinder, obviously. Super fun stuff. But with that, there are some really cool Pathfinder things that we're very excited about. I'm considering using Kingmaker's stuff to do settlements and city traits.
Did they make a 2E conversion for Kingmaker?
They made a whole Kingmaker adventure path for Pathfinder 2E.
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah, at the end of this campaign, when this one's done, we discussed doing it in the middle, but there's so much stuff lost for character progression that when you try to switch 1 to 1, it just does not compute. And it was going to be a lot. Man, they should be called settlements. There it is. So there's a whole thing about settlements in game, and then playing with them. Like, you can give marketplaces and power structures and things like that. Settlements gain stat blocks, which determines how well you can find certain things. But it also allows you to grow settlements a la Kingmaker, which allows you to lets you invest into settlements. That's the whole point of the Kingmaker path, is that you have a primary settlement, you're trying to grow your kingdom. So yeah, there's some cool stuff that comes with it. I've considered that. Obviously it means a lot more when we go to a city. It just can't be, oh, you come to the town of Townburg in the middle of the road. Then suddenly there's questions, okay, what type of people come to Townburg? What type of stats does Townburg have?
What do they do in Townburg? What's fun to do there?
So pull at the Pathfinder stuff. That's like the coolest thing about Pathfinder is that all of the data to play the game is free. Like this Archives of Nethys right here. This website is hosted by someone that's not even associated with Paizo, but Paizo links them from their official site. That's like, hey, if you want an online database that has all the rules of our game, this is it.
That's cool.
All of that stuff is free. Like, you never have to buy a Pathfinder book to play Pathfinder, because it's all open source and free and will be forever. Like, they're setting up, they're running the ORC, which is the
Oh, that's right. They made that whole
open
gaming
role
license thing.
playing
Yeah.
something communities. Yeah, there's not. There are not any $5 D&D paragraphs. They're making it so a private entity, a private nonprofit, will hold the license to all Pathfinder core rulebooks for eternity. Like there will be nobody can buy the license and do anything with it. So everything will always be free. The thing that it is, like if you go back in the lore and archives of Wizards of the Coast and Paizo and D&D, is the people that founded Paizo were the ones that initially created and helped build the standard gaming license, standard reference document license, the SRD. And then when they released that, they said, cool, we're going to go make Paizo now, because Wizards was moving off of 3.5 and continuing to a new edition. And
4. Yeah.
yep. And these guys were all the writers. They had written all the Dungeons for Dragon magazine. They made all the very successful like 3.5 adventure modules. These were the guys that wrote that stuff, and they were phenomenal adventure writers. So they left to make Paizo because they wanted to continue making like 3.5 oriented stuff, and they took the SRD and they built off of the SRD to make Pathfinder first edition. And then that's when they built their world, and the way that they make money is any of their adventure paths are incredibly well supported, but those are what you have to buy. Like the world stuff that's like the Paizo official world is what you end up purchasing. And they make these phenomenal adventures, super easy to run. The world's rich with lore and history. And then Pathfinder 1E went through a ton of evolution, and it is Pathfinder 2nd edition is, you know, as similar to Pathfinder 1st edition as Pathfinder 1st edition is to D&D 5e. You know, you roll d20s and you have stats. That's where the similarities kind of end. There's a lot more digestibility that was made in Pathfinder 2e, where the rulebook is still, I think the core rulebook's like 680 pages, but you only have to engage with what you are doing. You don't have to know the whole thing, which is fantastic. Like Pathfinder, I could sell Pathfinder all day. I freaking love the system. The company's really based. Gloomhaven is, I think it was initially based off it, but they're like Gloomhaven's combat system is hex based, and they use an entirely different like sort of like timing and action system. So it's not even close to like Pathfinder in terms of gameplay, as far as I'm aware. Like I have Gloomhaven and I have Frosthaven, and they don't feel like Pathfinder to me. World-wise, I think Galarian is their world. I think that's the name of it.
Galarian.
Yeah, I don't think Gloomhaven's associated with Galarian. You can double check that. I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
Talk about some serious in-depth world lore, though. My God.
Yeah, honestly, some of the best adventure builders for a long time here. And most, if not all of them, went to Paizo from Wizards when they were launching Pathfinder 1e. But because of that, they really just want to enrich people to be able to build their own stuff. So we have all these great things, like how do deities work in Pathfinder, and gods have their own statistics and devotee benefits, and it's funny. It fits up. If you look at divine rank, they have god, demigod, and quasi-deity. It fits up perfectly with my 3-tiered deity system. So when we were switching to this, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to make a bunch of gods. And I looked at this, I was like, ooh, this is really freaking good, because all of this works well with mine. But it's nice because gods will have like divine statistics, and then their followers will have specific benefits, and that ties in closely to like clerics, stuff like that. Obviously, they have favored weapons, domains, and cleric spells that they give, which is cool because every cleric wields a weapon based on their god, because they automatically get proficiency in it, which is just super cool to me. They have these hyper combative clerics that follow a certain domain. Man, they have just tons of great stuff for building and shaping things to fit your campaign world, and just plugging the system in, and it's all free online. And they've got all sorts of great stuff in there. And it's way, way easier to run. Like, holy crap, I've been having such a good time running our live games.
I was gonna say the what was it, the Mateo's game that we did that was like the first time you ever touched the system in live play, and it still went really smoothly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it went incredibly smoothly. Like I was very, very impressed with how easily that went. We still have the Mateo stuff on here, but the Foundry module for Pathfinder is ridiculous compared to the D&D one. Like all the things that are able to be done with it is it's kind of embarrassing. Yeah, kind of embarrassing for D&D. You're just like, boys, that didn't work well in your favor. So yeah, this game is switching over to Pathfinder, which in terms of like actual game stuff, it's not a ton changes. We're just we're getting ready now. Like I should go find my awesome document that I sent you, Nate. It's like all of the cool stuff that happens where I blacked out everything and it's all
the redacted document. I was like, I don't know what the fuck any of this is.
it had like the impermanence error and then everything it talked about what the heroes did and it's all redacted. So I was an asshole that day. I was feeling extra sassy. That is the one shot in which Juliet got shot and fell out of a tree. Was immediately just got crit and wrecked. Which, you know, you find out cool things like everybody gets a hero point at the start of each session and you can burn all your hero points if you go down to stop dying. The game is intended to be scary, like, which is phenomenal. And I thought XP would be very, very slow. Yeah, I'll pull up the document and share it. I've got it on here somewhere still. Because it was funny. I just have to go find it now. Yeah, we're just we are discussing kind of where things are going to start because I have the outline of the campaign already mind mapped, and that's why I had to go like hide my Obsidian Vault and note names because I couldn't let you see any of the shit that ties to campaign 2. But the start of it, you know, is going to be, I think we're going to go somewhere in Lamindor, which is this large southern continent here. Because so far in game, I have started a campaign up here in the steppes of Galea, and they have now made it all the way down here to the Katala Keys and are now crossing the Silvered Expanse. Like they have a very oceanic faring campaign. Like they dealt a lot with pirates and they're doing a lot of ocean faring stuff. But they got to explore Galea, touch into Utancia briefly, come down to Katala. They're skipping Busad, obviously, and they're actually on their way now to the Aegornai Towers.
It's not a good place to be right now. Don't go there.
Don't go to Busad. That's a bad time. It's a silly place.
It is a silly place.
I'm looking through
the SCP level of redacted.
Yeah.
Actually,
it's what it was too. I gotta go find it. Damn it! I know it's somewhere. I know I stashed that son of a bitch somewhere. In my sorted stuff. Yeah. I gotta zoom in. So this was like anticipated at the with what everybody's ending is going to be within like a couple years. Oh shit. No, I didn't redact enough.
Huh?
Yeah.
It's not on stream right now, so you're good.
Yep. Cool. So we're not going to share that. But yes, there's a lot of redacting. Just because I looked at it and I was like, ooh, that's a big plot point. I'm not going to let that out.
Whoops.
Did I send you that document? Or did I just show you a snippet of it?
I think you might have just shown me.
Good.
I don't remember getting the whole thing.
Good, because I realize now how much it like fucking. But I read that redacted version to the reason I redacted is because I read it to the live game on the start of their Pathfinder game because it kicked off and the reason part of it wasn't redacted is because of major world changing events that should come to pass if I'm predicting things properly. Which, you know, knowing these groups, and I never am. I don't fucking know. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. This is why we have the wine right on tap. So yeah, we're considering how really to start this, and there's a key goddess that I've wanted to explore more. My wife played a character that followed the Veil Mother in our former live game that that had to transition once I moved, but she does not do online play really well, and so she didn't get to work with the Veil Mother at all, which is someone I really want to explore more with them. So I'm hoping that somebody either rolls a cleric, or we can, like, I want some people to kind of have interest in her, because I want to explore that religion more, which would tie in a bit to our current campaign, because she's the goddess of night, and she also serves the current goddess of dreams, Caritas. And so that's just a fun, like, tie-in, and leads to some cool stuff in the next campaign, which I think would be really cool to explore. But, you know, we don't necessarily have to be like going to the goddess of night's domain to do that stuff. We can do it right here in Cyorion.
That's true.
And that's kind of the whole point. So I'm hoping that some people either follow her off the get-go, or if not, I may lay out some story threads to see if we can get some interest going in her.
I mean, with the frequency that Botrin's patron shows up, I feel like there's precedent set where it's like, yeah, gods just fucking talk to you sometimes.
Well, I mean, that's the fun part, is right now, for me, that's the only real god that like talks to you guys on a regular basis. A lot of the rest of them are prominently missing, unless you talk to the any of the touched who have begun to pass on. They may have seen Eovis and Phaeope, or not Eovis and Phaeope. It's Phaeope and not Vakitter's the moon. Eovis and Vakitter are the moons, but Phaeope and good lord, come on, dum dum, remember your gods' names.
I'm no help on this one.
It is. Oh, that's about the Veil. Religion and Legends. There it is. Nomatothra and the Gatekeepers. So this has to do with the afterlife of Cyorion. And the Gatekeepers are Eothera and Phaeope. So if people have touched who have started to pass on, have had the opportunity to see Eovis or Eothera and Phaeope in their way. Which, how many people we got watching? This is my favorite bit of lore that I hope the 8 of us that are present here never get it out in the public eye, because I want it to be solved one day. But these two gods are 2 different versions of something similar, and their names are designed in the same way.
Huh.
So in cyber and encryption, there are different types of ciphers that can be used to like to translate different things, and this is what's called a Rot 13 cipher, which rotates letters a certain number of letters in the alphabet, and I can't remember what it was, but Eothera and Phaeope are a Rot version difference. I can't remember what the Rot number was. There it is, Rot 7.
I feel like I remember you telling me about this, and it was way over my head.
Yeah, so I mean, a Rot cipher is just a number rotation, so you're replacing it with IJKLMNOP. So 7 letters later from I is P. That's a Rot 7. It's a rotation of 7. And so Eothera is a rotation of 7 from Phaeope. And that's how those gods came to be, is that they're similar but slightly different, and they do the same thing, but they work together, and that was the whole fucking purpose. And one day I'd love for somebody just if anybody ever read this, to be like, that's interesting. They have this sort of cryptogram that's like fits them, and some nerd to put it together, and then I'll be from whatever spirit realm is beyond. I'll be dead, just cackling, going, someone figured it out! Yay! It only took 300 years and someone finding my trove of randomness on the internet. I don't know. Yeah, just ridiculous nerd shit. That me sitting there late nights going, I gotta find a cool name that does this. Yeah.
Fuck it, I'll make my own.
Yeah, Thera's slender, tall, misty blue, and Phaeop's stout humanoid with glowing red energy. So they're similar but different. And yes, one's blue and one's red because of reasons. Hey, you guys have been the ones that have been learning all this stuff about the moons, the anchors, the path, you know, the path to the afterlife, and you've had Isadora there and being like, yeah, you know, I totally died and saw that shit. Which is just great.
Heavy weighs the crown of knowledge.
Yeah. So there's some interesting places that we can always go explore. We had one campaign that started here in Gratellan, that has some city stuff built around it, and Gratellan's one of my favorite places for heroes to like come together and make something of themselves, because the constitution and the resounding precedence of Gratellan is that anyone can rise above their station, and that money makes the man, basically, to where if you go out and you work hard and you earn money, it's a plutocracy. Vote is paid for in coin. So when you're fundraising,
So crazy.
and you collect votes, you are literally collecting dollars as votes, and whoever wins is the one who has been voted most with the money, and then all the money from the voting is how they collect taxes. It's what turns into the money for the cities and social programs. I just thought I always loved it because it's such a diverse group of people. It sits between halflings. The halflings like settled there because naturally they could just be like, we just want to farm and carve out our own little section and live happy. So they do. And nobody fucks with them. As well as, I mean, the halflings were pivotal in the old elf dwarf wars versus the tieflings thousands of years ago. But they lived there with the gnomes and the humans that eventually came down. The humans ended up settling just north a ways. And humans had big lumber trade, dwarves had big metal trade, and then there's this massive lake that's like the size of two of the Great Lakes combined from the US. The Glastawa Depths, massive lake system. And it's used to like float logs down from the north, and then people will sail iron trade back up, and there's just, you know, it's a hub of cash, and that's what it turned into, is a plutocracy of all these people. And so it's always been a really interesting place to me to start, because it's settled right between the Wood Elf Kingdom and the Dwarven Kingdom. There's a human settlement down here, the Kingdom of Kiath. We have one player from there in one of our games. He's actually nobility from there. They're a mix between like Skyrim Nords and the and Bulgarian culture. Like their music and culture really was influenced in there, and they're you know, a proud culture of like great music and song and dance. They make great bards, and this is like a frigid peninsula, and they just kind of like, this seems like home because they came from way the fuck up north here. And they were like, this is like home, but farmable, so we're gonna live here. And nobody else was there, so they just kind of took it over.
That's fun.
Yeah. So Gratellan's an interesting place, but then also, you know, Mateo's is over here in the Hesso states right now. Why isn't Mateo's points of interest on there? There they are. There's all the Mateo's points of interest. We've got this kingdom that's currently being carved out in Mateo's Misfits, which has, you know, one-shot stuff. We're exploring this in the Hesso states a little bit more. But this was the most interesting place for me, like looking at for a kickoff for the new campaign, would be in the Threst Protectorate.
Cool.
Because this is the home to Leonin and Loxodon, as well as one cool Pathfinder race or ancestry who is not been revealed yet in the world. So,
God, is it the pug people? Please.
actually, no, the pug people do come from there too. My bad. Yeah, they're from there too. They are one of the peoples from there, but the ancestry that is from there that I love. Where are you? I've gotta find you. These fellas. The Kashrishi. No, not lizardmen. Kashrishi. They are rhinoceros people.
Ooh.
But what you need to know.
Dude, is that a gem for a horn?
This is. There you go. This is the ancestry height chart, right? For heritages and ancestries. So up here.
Oh, that's cool.
Up here you got like your half orcs and stuff, you know. I can't like pan this properly. It's being shitty. Let me go like this. Open image and new tab. Being shitty.
In the way.
No, it's just the window is. It's not wanting to play properly with me here. Full screen. Fucking. So, half elves, half orcs, right? Here's your full orcs, your rat folk, your Nagashi, which are, we've seen some leshies, right? There's kobolds, kitsune, hobgoblins.
Leshies are so small.
That is not accurate. That one's not accurate. Nope. I'm looking at it and it's not accurate.
Oh. Bummer. I got really excited. I thought they were just little guys.
This one's accurate. Could make you even happier because the Kashrishi really are just low guys.
Oh no.
There's them right there. They're shorter than the Shuni, the pug people.
Oh my god.
There's a Shuni. That's the Kashrishi.
They're 3-foot tall gem rhino people.
Yep.
That's so funny.
Yep.
The horse guys scare the shit out of me, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, the Galamas. Yeah, the Galamas are really cool. They are from. I actually have a place that the Galama are from right now. So let me get this back to where we were.
Yeah.
The Kashrishi are tiny.
Those dudes give me like Eldritch Elites from Halo 2 vibes.
So the Galoma are native and have been hiding from some of the regions where one player is from originally. I don't want to spoil who, but there's this region right here south of where all the stuff with Mateos is going on. They're from here. Because this is like mountainous, but it comes to be swampy right at the foot of these mountains over here where this lake is. It gets really swampy swampers. It gets really swampy over here. Josh here. Josh, you should join us now that you're done doing your thing. But Josh probably playing Diablo.
Multitask.
I'm
happen talking.
It's true. I'm planning campaign stuff and talking. Let me see if I can fix this specific window. It's because I didn't have it fully over there. There we go. Let's just put this back to the graph view because that's the fun view. Yeah, so there's saying this because also it's just on the stream that everyone's going to automatically assume, but there are actually 3 total witches in play from different campaigns. But this area is known for its swamp witchcraft, and that's where the Galoma come from.
Okay.
But yeah, the Kashrishi they're just little guys. Well, yeah, the Galoma like to stay off of the radar. I haven't found places for everybody exactly yet. Like obviously automatons are going to just continue to be Yurig is the automatons. The androids, I'm still torn on whether or not this rare ancestry gets to be played or not, because we do have a no rare ancestries without prior authorization right now. The Anati, I think, are definitely coming from Ashahoya. Just
Oh God.
desert spider kind of makes sense. So this whole mountain region, if I think they're from somewhere, it's going to be from in here, and then possibly the Warissa wildlands way up here. This whole region, that's where our Tauren come from currently. These guys are just mixed with anybody really. But yeah, the flesh warps are necrotic. They can come from anywhere. The Gohoran are coming from off planet. There's Josh.
I'm here. Hello.
I gotta fix some cameras.
Oh yeah, everything.
Let's fix a couple cameras. Let's get that, and then copy it and paste it again, and see if I can trick the system and let me do it twice. Aha, got him.
Aha, double Nate.
It was double Nate briefly.
Oh, look at that. I am engulfed in refining coastline right now.
Yeah, Nate, we were talking about, Nate's been working on a project for a long time, if you remember. He's been working on the redo of the textures for the map.
Yeah.
He reminded me today, and I was like, oh yeah, that's actually fucking happening too. I forgot that was like hey, here's a passion project if you want to do this.
I'm also redefining like the size of it too, so that like when we do those specific like, oh yeah, this is the region you guys are in, we can have it just be like that actual size and have each grid of 50 pixels be 1 day of travel.
Yeah, have it actually make sense and rivers not be like 24 miles wide.
Right.
Why is that river 24 miles wide? Because it's not. Because the river runs through this hex, and I'm just too. I don't have the skills to translate it down. I mean, I love the map that we had created. But there is good reason to have more zoomable maps too. So it is a huge lift. Probably agreed to pay Nate too for it. I just can't remember because we buy so much fucking art from people. Josh and my wallets are just perpetually open for people with art.
I think I just said I was just gonna do this.
Oh, bummer.
Oh no, we'll just have to buy more of your art.
You call me Diablo. We're good.
Hey,
Are fun.
Tell Pullet to shut up because he's being mean to you. To Josh. Nick, here it is. Yeah,
Find you, pull it.
We were talking about these guys over here, our cute little. I don't know if you were watching our discussion.
I was kind of watching
these guys, the Kashrishi, that are. Oh no, close that note. Get out of here. Note that was inadvertently popped up that might have had data. So everybody sees these guys from the ancestries, and they're like, "Oh, cool, rhino peoples." Like they're clearly rhinoceros, and so they think like 6 foot tall, when in reality they're 3 foot tall.
Sick. Baby rhino people.
They are just itty bitty fellas.
Lizard men are not the best. Korth is a loser.
Who is Korth?
It's Pullet's character from my campaign.
Was this from the
Like
one I jumped in there?
Yeah, pre you.
Well, Pullet, if you would join the server and join Mateo's, you can make Korth the Lizard Man for Pathfinder 2e and play in the running series of one shots, because that's what we do.
Is he not in the Discord?
He's not in Mateo's. He might be in the Discord though.
Oh, okay. I was like, how is that possible? He's here every week on stream.
I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't. Pullet's kind of mean like that sometimes.
He is super mean like that.
He's in there. Yeah. If you were playing, you could literally play one of these big old lizard boys. They're not rare. They're an uncommon, so they are accepted in game. You can play them. One of my players on Friday plays a Nagaji. He plays the Nagaji though that has the human top half and the snake bottom half.
Oh god.
It's a reverse Nagaji hybrid, and he's got like Naga lore and stuff. It's super cool. He comes.
It's all based on it's all based on like actual scheduling. So it goes out to the channel. So if anybody wants to join and play, a message gets sent out to the channel, and anybody that accepts it gets scheduled around availabilities and stuff. So
and we do it on
West Coast, so
we do it on random days and times, so that way it kind of hits everybody and everyone gets the opportunity to play. And the purpose is to get people in to learn Pathfinder for campaign 2, and a chance to see some of our friends that don't play or stream with us to just get into a game with them and play. And it's a loosely connected series of one shots. I do love that our frog people, the Drobates, get to be the Gripilli or the Gripli here, and they're canonically 2 feet tall. They're just they're 80 boys. Yep. And God, how many Kitsune do we have in freaking Mateo's? So many.
So many. Like 4, I think.
Yeah, we have a lot of Kitsune. In our live game, our current, like our active campaign that's now meeting regularly, we have a Vanara.
Vanara are pretty cool.
Yep. We have a Vanara, a Nagaji. We have 1 Kitsune. We have a Catfolk.
Cool.
And we have, I think, we have an elf. What else do we have? It's because Josh failed you is what happened.
Okay. He's been watching the streams. We say it on stream like all the time.
I know. We have an elf.
I'd love to be
and then I
Strix,
think we have a
'cause
half
they're
elf.
So cool looking.
I'm trying to remember what our last one is, honestly. Oh, we have a goblin. Yep, we do have a goblin. I think everybody else was uncommon. I'm trying to think if one of them was actually, because I know we have 1 elf. No, we have 2 elves. That's it. Yep, that's it. We have 2 elves. Yeah, Josh does do a lot of carrying when it comes to every game. I know that's the only reason he comes back and plays the cycle is to carry you.
I'm in your backpack. Sure. I gave you the Misfits tag, so you should be able to see the channel now. Pull it.
Yeah, I'm interested in brainstorming here. I'm considering a city down in the Thrust Protectorate for the start of campaign 2. It's a fairly unexplored region. It's big play for me, and it's like a visualization aid easily is the Gap of Rohan from Lord of the Rings. Rolling hills, lots of plains, some small hills and rock outcroppings, but just lots of rolling hills down here, and meadows of grain is kind of the motif of this whole area. It butts up on the eastern coast to the arid, or the eastern side of the kingdom to the arid expanse. So there's a lot of orc integration on this side. They were not the first group to fall during the War of the Faceless, so although Burrows did his damage, they kind of get along with orcs. Most people do not what is the word I'm trying to think of, discriminate against orcs. Yeah, that's it. So it's not like all orcs are a bad thing. It's just some people are more pissed off about it than others, like these guys up here, these assholes in the Kashian Empire. They're a little douchey. Everybody else is pretty much cool with it.
You gotta have some douchey people.
You do.
It helps if they're an empire.
They are super imperialistic, and they are that way because they were the first to fall to Burrows, and they wear that mantle pretty heavily upon themselves, and like they became xenophobic and very like Holy Crusade-ish types. They follow the church. If I gotta go find him now, 1 second. NPCs, deities. They follow Alaric, the Holy Order of Alaric. And Alaric is now the Alaric the Vanguard, Guard of Strength. He's a demigod. He as the legend goes, back when the Blood Orc curse was happening, he held off like hordes of orcs alone, and then he so impressed the orcish god of war that he challenged him to single combat for the right of divinity, and he battled him for like 3 days. But really, it was like Yutgut cursed the orcs, and it was a demigod that cursed them. And Alaric and his warbands kept the orcs at bay from the Kashian Empire, and then Yutgut was so impressed that he challenged him to, or sorry, no, Eric, because I don't think, yeah, Eric is known as Thuthena, mostly in the common tongue. She's a two-faced god of war that on one face holds the terror and all the horrors of war, and the one face holds like the stern face of glory and honor and death by combat and stuff like that. But she took the form of an orc, battled Alaric, and the duel lasted a few hours, and then Alaric eventually drew blood against her, and then she came back and rose him to divinity because of how impressed he was. And there was this huge legend that rose up around it, and that created a whole fucking religion in the Kashian Empire. And then Burros came along and just fucked everybody up, and then they thought they were weak, and they're just like, oh, we can't take it. So now they're xenophobic and crazy and hate everybody else, and they refuse to let them fall anymore. So we have a paladin of the Church of Alaric in one of the campaigns, and he just goes around showing people how strong he is. It's do you remember Will from the campaign with the Orc and Friends, the one you played in? Oh, what was his name? Shit. Josh, you played in that campaign. What was his fucking name?
I'm trying to think.
Oh no.
I'm trying to think.
I can't remember it. I'm so bad.
Blank and Friends.
Graknor and Friends. Graknor and Friends. Yeah.
I was slowly getting there.
Will played the dwarf in that campaign, and Will plays this paladin of Alaric now, and he helped me design Alaric in the church and stuff. So
I miss Jasper Valhammer.
Jasper was very cool. He's a super cool artificer. You can tell him about him. He was a good guy. This was the last campaign I ever ran in Forgotten Realms.
Super old artificer who had like a Mega Man dog that turned into his like workbench. So dope.
It was very cool.
And then he had a falcon that he flew around and he could possess, and it was like his attack bird.
That's
It was all like steampunk mechanics. His wings were like scimitars and stuff. So dope.
Yeah, so cool.
We'll have some good Rush representation.
Yeah, the little goblin goober guy. Exactly. He wasn't a goblin though. He was a gnome.
I've got to jump.
But he was little.
He was little. He was cool though. I'm jumping back to my Foundry setup so I can show you what the new maps are going to look like. And this is what I'm trying to build them all to the same. So when we finally combine everything, I'm going to export it all into Cyorion compendiums at the end of campaign 1, and then I can import them into the same game for the second one. What is going on? You're just having some issues here. Crashing that there. There we go. So basically all of them will run the same kind of map notes as the plan. I think let's show Fangdai. I think that one's got the best representation.
Still haven't updated to version 11, huh?
Nope. I'm holding off until everything kind of gets.
Don't.
That's the typical with Foundry is stay n-1 for a little while.
Yeah, they fucked my day up.
Yeah,
Happens.
oh, let's I just saw. Oh no, not the Servants of Amana. Let's not look at that. No, don't look at Yoxville. There was, what did I map over there? I fucking, nope, not Efforts of the Ebon Hand. God,
Yeah, show us that one.
No, we can pull
What
up.
are they doing?
We can pull up a stuff about Astrakarion there, because that's interesting. So we'll play a little music from here too, because the forest ambience is good. So this is typically what our maps are going to start looking like in the future with these types of notes, where you have some of the larger notes that resemble an area, and you can go into them and they'll have like links to different places within there, like Kolcheth here is a town, and I'm trying to leverage some more of these like monks' journals stuff. But it's just, it's the perpetual DM problem of what do you populate with data, because what are they going to actually run into? A lot of it's always that notes in the back of your brain. Like, I know that if they ever get there, but like Macaran, obviously they've been to this place, so it has a slew of notes. And if I get all of the campaigns, my plan with Foundry is to get them all into the same game world. I'm not sure how it's going to work, or I'm trying to figure out how to do shared compendium backups between them, because then I can build stuff out in one with town folks and it gets automatically shared to the rest of them. That's the spot I'm in now. But if you put everybody into the same game world, then everybody who can log into it is listed as a player no matter when they play. And it gets to be a bit of a hassle, because then it's like, hey, there's 30 accounts that are active here. But yeah, we're going to be doing some more of like these types of notes to where you can see a little bit better who's associated with what. Like, generally blue cities are friendly, red cities are a little more hostile, and I've been using green as like another group. So Josh got some cool icons for me. I've got some of the built-in ones. God, this was fun. I gotta bring this up. So this is the last location of the Goat and Torch. This is a tavern that the group that play that's Damn, the name of the party, Danger's all of our middle names. They are going into the forest. I'll pull up on this map over here so you can see. They are going here into the Showerlake Kingdom, which is the kingdom of Wood Elves. And it is the oldest forest on the planet, and it is like Sarah would go nuts because it's more magical than Katala is. It is. I know
those woods.
It is the you know those woods. It is the stereotypical like elven deep forest, high fantasy, like everything's fucking weird. The Feywild is deeply connected here, shit like that. Cool. So the Goat and Torch is a tavern that existed in the Wastemanor Forest a long time ago, centuries ago, and it disappeared. And now every 100 years or so, it reappears in the Wastemanor Forest in different locations because it exists in the Feywild right now. And it's one of those things that's I can't reveal the meta reasons as to why it works, but it's one of the things, like, it is like a flickering connection of that portal you guys went through in Katala. It's like a last breath of that connection, and every 100 years or so it lights up and pulls it back for a day or two, and then it kicks it back to the Feywild. So it exists in the Feywild where time moves a little faster, but basically the group ran into it. The party came in, and I'll pull up their sheets here in a second. I gotta just get my notes.
Kicking stuff and throwing stuff over there.
Yeah. No, I've got a recycle bag that I have not taken out yet next to my chair. Oh. These are all my D&D notebooks. Like, I got problems with organization, man.
I will be right back.
You need to get yourself an iPad. Digital notes.
I have this whole digital note system, and I still just find it so much easier to write things down while I'm playing.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is get an iPad with a pen. You can still have that feedback, but then it's all digitized.
But then what would I do with all these legal notebooks that I have? Because I have a giant pack of them that I had for free.
Stop killing paper.
I got them for free. I didn't buy them. They were given to me.
Someone else killed those trees.
Someone else did. So we've got our players here. So we have Sharissa is a sorcerer, Dewin is a cleric, Galreed's a paladin, Ian's a fighter, Maitar is a bard, and Yendor's a ranger. And then they went into this place, this tavern here, the Goat and Torch, and they're sitting in there, and there's a couple other groups. There's like a table of like 2 people hanging out. There's the bartender with like 2 or 3 people at the bar, and then there's this group of adventurers that's sitting over there having a meal, chatting it up and laughing. And eventually one of them notices that they like look similar to, like, they look familiar, and so they call him over, like it's Ian, the fighter, is like, hey, you all look a little, do I know you from somewhere? And eventually he like stands up, and they come back and look, and it is the party as they exist and live in the Feywild during that time. And it's DeWin's an artificer, Ian is not a fighter, he's a wizard, Maitar's not a bard, he's a monk, Sharista is not a wild magic sorcerer, she's a super devout cleric, Yendor's not a ranger, he's a paladin, and Galreed is no longer a paladin, he's a warlock. And so the fighter and the paladin ends up calling them like evil Ian and evil Galreed. And it just turns into fucking memes. But basically the Feywild existent versions of themselves know that their time here is fleeting and that they should leave. And then one of the players left their dagger with the Feywild version of himself. I'm just like, oh god, yes.
That's too much chaos.
Well, I mean, then there was they're continuing through this forest, and then, one of them, I think I posted it in Discord, took my first deal with a Fey that I've just been waiting so long for. Yep, there it is. I had a deal for him that basically he entered in the deal with this Fey deity, and it was a way for his family to get out of this life debt and this obligation, this generational debt to a god. And he was like, others may think you a lesser man, small, if you were to take the deal, but I won't. And so he was like, I'm taking the deal, I gotta save my family. And he immediately shook his hand and was like, and then shrunk to, I had him roll 4d4, and he shrunk from 6 foot to 2 foot tall.
No.
Yeah, so they're out there fucking with Fey shit in the weird Fey forest, and I'm just loving it. But
never trust a Fey.
Here's where something is interesting for you. This is the only map that's got this defined with the actual name of the Blight Fields out here. Yeah, cool shit.
Dope.
Yeah, they're making their way up to here, which is also interesting for Nate, but Nate's not here. Oh no, Nate, you don't get to see Virtathos on a map. Sad. So sad.
So sad.
So sad.
Many sad.
But yeah, other stupid dumb stuff that we've had for world building on here. The Atalerix Malara Dora Sailor. She has a rank Atalerix we've talked about. All these people have their ranks for the Asterkirin are constellations, and the constellations are defined. So it is
super dope.
Yeah, they've all actually got defined constellations. Just fun shit we've had waiting in here for the wings, but for the book one day. Nope, don't. I hate when I like mouse over this stuff. It like pulls it up. It just pulled up the fucking notes for Kirmi. Don't look at that. We don't need that information for you people.
Clip it.
Someone go back and clip it. I think honestly, it just like flashed her name, and then yeah, it shows like the top of it. There's stuff about Captain Bacall. We like him. Oh, see, there's Simiposi, so there's the it's just like the little snippet about him. But he's in the wrong place now. No, he's in the deceased folder. He's in the right place. Never mind, we're good. He's in the dead folder. He's where he belongs.
I was gonna say.
Trauma. So yeah, I'm trying to brainstorm the launch of campaign 2 here down in the Thrust Protectorate, doing some interesting stuff there, just because post impermanence era, like after we're done with this era, there's gonna be some really cool stuff down there, I think. And just as the world opens up and things become more available to us, I don't know.
We could do let's see.
The other options, like Gratellin's a clear option because it's been around for a while. I got the map notes up here, but like this area right here with Takala, Coral Bay, Gustat, it's called the Vendreld Lowlands. This is where the Neritria is taking place right now, the live game. So they are in this region adjacent to Ashahoy, and they'll be playing right in here the whole time. And then obviously Mateo's is all right here.
I gotta open up the map for myself.
Yeah. I'm looking at places we haven't really explored, but it's great because we have enough games going that I think we've touched just about everything except for Oodland, obviously, because you can't go to Oodland, and there's going to be a campaign that's literally the war against Oodland, because those dragons are bad, and someone's got to put them in their place. Not all of them. By the way, if you're not in our Discord, you should totally go check it out, because some of the cool stuff that we put in there is, let's go pull this up. We have on our notes page here, this is the Council of Oodlands. And then if I can remember my keybind for the mind map. Gotta go to settings for this. Hold on. Hotkeys. Control M. That's good so far. So we've got, this has been shared with everybody. The Houses of Dragons in Oodland, which is always interesting because, you know, right now there's a lot of hate for dragons, but not all the dragons are bad, and people should know that. Simiposi was trying to do good things, but he's abandoned right now because he's gold. And I'm really hoping we have this little tidbit here about the dragons of the cycle that's listed on this side. You can get it dragged over. These guys and the House of Primals, I think, will come into play more in campaign in season 2. It's the best way to call it, because there's 3 campaigns going into the next one. Lizard folk, May, and kobolds in Cyorion do not identify themselves any longer as they identify themselves as draconic descendants, but not associated with modern dragons, which is an important distinction because they try to draw their lineage back to the aspects and claim that they're another creation of the aspects, simply because of all the stupid bad shit that dragons have been doing recently. And it's just really, they're just like, we're not associated with that at all. Please don't hate us. The dragons are assholes. We're the better creations of these people. Yeah, we went through, when I made this, I went through Pathfinder and pulled out all the different the new dragon families that come from Pathfinder. So we've got the brine dragons, the underworld dragons, the crystal dragons, like all that cool shit. And then these ones specifically, dragons of the cycle, like you guys heard last week a little bit about the cycle. Mm-hmm. And there are dragons that assist those druids in guarding the cycle, which is just more stuff that I like to have in there.
So are you wanting to build like some towns in the Thrust Protectorate? Are you wanting to build like starting city?
That was kind of the thought for today. Was I was going to do one of two things. We were either going to, I was just kind of brainstorming and bouncing ideas with Nate. We were talking about kind of what region to start in for campaign 2. And you being obviously aware of the major bullet points. Mm-hmm. You know, I have an interest in getting somebody associated with the Veil Mother, and whether I do that by plot points for you guys and like learning about her, or someone's like literally a cleric of the Veil Mother and maybe bring some of that stuff along. Those are all things that interest me, but the Veil Mother has deep ties to Caritas as well, which brings some really cool like campaign 1 to 2 connectivity for this game. So I'm interested in that, but stuff about Night God can be done fucking anywhere. That's the best thing. You know, it doesn't have to be specific to a city. Let's see, we're gonna switch. Let's switch off this really quick, actually, and we'll go, since we don't get to see this on stream as much, we'll pull up another one of the campaigns and put some of their stuff on the front page. Let's go to Shades of Blue. another game where Josh has his hands all in because he, went as far as to get the party named after him.
Yep.
Blue is an awesome druid, and he still lives. He still lives way up here in his fucked up little forest right now because some evil god of greed like decimated a third of it and about killed Blue in the process.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And oh my god, we gave our druid who just became touched. We
Mina.
gave her not Mina, Allie.
Not Mina?
Allie.
Oh right, Allie. Not
Allie
Mina.
is the druid. Mina is the masks one.
Yep.
Right.
So, here's some of my assets, by the way.
Oh, and we you dropped some of the lore for the Aether Shards, which is the whole
Yep, you guys
like
just learned
reason
about the
for
Aether
Shades
Shards.
of Blue. Like they're actively seeking the shards.
So is Damn.
Yeah.
There are 2 parties that are actively seeking the Aether Shards. So
Meanwhile,
this is
in the background. I've just been sitting there thinking, I want to find one of those fucking things. It's just not important right now.
so this is we talked about the ocean stuff. Like this is the some of the ocean stuff. I picked this up from a creator on Patreon. Let me put some of the music on here. Hold on.
Oh yeah, this is Limitron, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I love their stuff.
So this is all their stuff, and we had we got our tropical sea frigate, and we've got our on the ocean frigate, so they can have they've had a couple things already from this. Like they explored a sunken wreck that had air trapped in it, so they were like checking out this wreck. And they got to a few of them stayed on the vessel, and some of them dove in the water. So we did that. They had a battle in one of the scenes here. It was this one. They had a battle on this, so there's the ship, but they had things coming off of the islands, like swarming the ships and trying to connect to combat it with nets and stuff dragged out there. They were like the Sahuagin and some of the other sea creatures attacked them as they were coming through these islands. So lots of fun with that group. And they've been working a lot on, let's see if we have all of their world maps. So that campaign started up here in Galea and went all the fuck over up here. And now they own Saringhurst, this city right here.
They own it?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
They were gifted Saringhurst by
It's awesome.
Oh my god.
by the they were gifted Saringhurst by the fuck, what was that family's name? That's so long ago too. Good lord.
Who gifted it to us? It's not the Van Cuthberts.
Yeah, it was the Von
It
Cuthberts.
did us.
Yeah.
Van Cuthberts.
Yeah, well, basically the Von Cuthberts had the matriarch had been possessed by a greater evil.
Yeah.
She had the flesh walker that had tendrils operating her. Yeah, there was a whole fucking scary to doom
Is that what you did to
music
my daughter?
intro. No. This was terrible. This was not a benevolent, benign god of fungus, but Monster Effects is right. This is very much a fucking help moment. No, I have the art in the Discord. I posted it in the world, the lore for them. It's in the archives now. But it's the Maribel's lore and information. I'll find it for you. Fleshwalker. Because if you just search Fleshwalker.
That's what you get when trying to search out the Aether Shards. Is Fleshwalkers.
Here it is. I will copy a link to this message and just drop it into chat here, because if you're not in that Discord, or if you're in that Discord, you can see it, and if you're not, you can't see it, so it sucks to be you. But that should be the link that'll take you to the Fleshwalker, and that was concept art for a movie that I found that I was just like, I'm making this into a monster, and then that was her intro, and we used a remix of The Only Thing They Fear Is You, and I timed the speech to it. That was that was fantastically fun. But because they saved the von Cuthbert family, the von Cuthbert matriarch who had run the family, and then her grandson, the firstborn grandson, became Ickletek, who was who served the god of greed and was the primary like baddie for that campaign for the first yeah, steal it, absolutely. Yeah, the Fleshwalker's terrifying.
Gross.
So what Ickletek was doing is the Fleshwalker was, so the worst part is underneath the von Cuthbert city of Gilsa was a massive Burlheart tree, and these were weeping willows basically that had a heart, a greedy heart that they corrupted and turned to wood and placed into the tree. And then it would grow these red vines out of the willow that would seep into and control the land and like suck the life out of the land around it. The god of greed wants everything, all life energy, all money, everything. He's just hungry and greedy and gluttonous for everything.
Rude.
And the god of greed had an agent called the Fleshwalker, which was controlling Beatrix von Cuthbert, the grandmother. And she's like, at that point in the story, she's like 140 years old. She looks normal, but then when the party encounters her and like she says her shit in that speech, like she's literally just like bits of flesh and bone being held up by weird tendril things, like cordyceps tendrils. Like, actually not cordyceps. Have you seen the fucking the whipworms that'll come out of the back of like praying mantises when they drown them underwater?
No. I hate everything about this sentence.
Yeah, that's exactly what they are. Is these long tendril worm things that were animating her throughout the castle. And the younger von Cuthbert brother, who saw what Ickletek did and like thought he was helping his family, he was partially enchanted. But the worst part was like the Burlheart at the center of their castle was Kenna, their mother. Like she was a pure woman and they couldn't corrupt her, so they literally grew the tree out of her corpse and ripped her heart out in front of her and kept her alive while they corrupted it. And they had to disconnect her heart from her. Yeah, they had to disconnect her heart from her. And like the final battle with the Fleshwalker, the party it was supposed to be a two-phase encounter. They were supposed to die in the first half, and then Kenna's spirit and the spirits of those that were sacrificed to the god of greed resurrected them, and then like weakened the creature so they could actually do damage and kill it. And it was a really epic fight. Tons of fun. Scary at the beginning because everyone's like, we can't do anything, why are we dying? And I'm like, just please shut up and die because you're supposed to, because it's supposed to happen this way. They didn't know that I had this all like sorted out and planned. Everyone's just like, this is bullshit, we can't beat it. But
you can always run.
they couldn't. They were
Oh, never mind.
they were multiple stories underground in a massive cavern that grew this giant tree. And had a whole bunch of people trapped. So they built a stone platform. They built a stone platform around it and put people into these grates, like into these holding chambers with holes in the grates, so that the roots of the tree could tendril out and get more people to like suck more life from. And like as they walked in, like it was pulsing light as it extracted life force from these people in the grates. It was twisted. It was horrible. And I loved everything. It was so good.
It was fun. We did it.
But they did it. Yep. And that killing Beatrix, releasing the younger von Cuthbert from his curse and him realizing what had happened. He's just like, this was his whole kingdom in blue. And he's like, we need to reclaim like what my family's fallen to. So I'm going to gift you guys Sarenhurst as long as you pledge loyalty to me. And so they're just like, fuck yeah, we get a whole city. And so they now have a city that's training Goliath Viking warriors and building Viking Goliath longships for sea combat, because they decided early on, they got presented like 3 NPCs presented them options to like help them build the city, and they're like, we want the military because we know bad shit's coming. And then they took off out of fucking Galea and fucked off down across the northern Great Sea.
Yeah, we dipped.
And so like this was their travel across the northern Great Sea. Stopped here, did the fucking Incaria, did the fucked up whale story. Oh my god, from TikTok. Oh, that was so sad. It was horrible.
It's a gnarly one.
Have you seen that one, Nate?
No, I don't really do the.
That's probably my favorite, like weird one-off little tad bit that I got from the internet.
Yep.
That's
Dude.
so good.
Dude on TikTok makes sad one-shot story ideas, like for people to put into their games. And I heard this one, I was like, oh, I gotta do it. So they come upon a fishing village. In the fishing village, in the center of the town square, there is a whale's skull on a pole. And as the group comes in, people are going about their days. They're preparing for the fishermen to come back. But then suddenly, like a fog rolls in, and the skull starts like letting out a somber whale cry. And this sound starts echoing through the town, and everybody starts crying. And you find out that when that cry happens, one of their ships never makes it home. Like whenever that happens, one of the ships doesn't make it home. And so after some investigation, the party finds out that it's the skull of a great beast that used to terrorize their ships constantly until they finally slew it. And since they erected the statue in town holding the skull, it only occasionally comes back and takes out one of their ships, but they manage to, the spirit of this beast is haunting them. And so the party takes the skull and like tries to figure out the problem is, and it's the skull of a massive like Goliath-sized killer whale. And what they find out when they drag the skull out with them is that it's the skull of this creature's child. When the village tried to go kill the creature, they accidentally killed its child and thought they killed it. And so its cries, the mother's cries, echo into the skull of the creature in town. And so our party brought the skull out, found out this problem, was like, here's your baby back, fuck these people, and sailed away. And it was just like, do what you will to these people, they're fucking monsters.
They deserve whatever bad thing happens to them.
So good. Our party was just like, nope, fuck everything about these people.
I am joining the Orca War on the side of the Orcas.
So I don't know if Korea is going to be there or not when we get back to it. Like, I'm not sure if Whale Mommy is just going to like assault them or if she's just going to mourn and move on now. Like, I'll answer that question someday, but I never want to go back to it right now. I'm just like, our party was just like, fuck all that noise.
It'd be pretty safe to say the town is probably still there.
Town
All of
probably
its
is,
boats and people on the ocean and anyone getting close to that on a boat, probably not.
Probably no longer a fishing village and probably mostly abandoned with like the few sheep farmers that are left.
I'm trying to find that guy on TikTok and I can't find him anymore.
I will have to look him up, but he's great. So eventually then they came back to Padence. This is the group that's literally explored most of the world. They went to Padence and Utancia. And they spent, this was the first one I had like labeled with Photoshop. And like showed off some of the nicer labeling.
Oh, that's right. We got to talk fonts at some point.
We should, yeah. Like I would love if you like had labels like this for everything, because I have names for all this shit.
That is the idea.
Yeah, fantastic. Because I try to make it and it always looks like shit when I get done. But yeah, they came to Padence. They fucking went to the capital of Salo. Ruined a whole party there, like the giant party at the end of the year, but realized that it was a spell that was being cast on everybody to fuck with everyone. And then they came back as Padence was being attacked. Padence was the target of the first City Siege miniseries. Like,
oh, interesting.
Padence was, it was a coastal village
that's
that
right.
was attacked. Yeah,
That was where you tested out that idea.
Yep. And
Yeah,
it went so fucking well. Like we did it in 2 parts for the small adventuring party and 1 part with the guards, and we brought it back for our campaign into 1 and 1 instead of 2 and 1. But that worked out really well. And then they sailed off from there, and then they went to one of our favorite places, the Kutala Keys. And this is a fun place because we know what's here on Ostromut. That's the home of the Utample.
Oh, yeah.
So, whenever you contacted her, timelines didn't line up properly for it to happen. But, let's see here. So there is stuff that's going on with your guys's campaigns and stuff, like timing wise. And this is the one thing I have this up for, as I was going to start building this back out, but one of the times you contact your daughter, you may hear war drums because she's literally going to war with the Utomple. Because
Right now?
during one of the times, basically the Utomple are like, you know, there is a Utomple captain that was working with Shades of Blue, and all these hexes here, this is a hex crawl as they worked their way across this island to clear it from a society of phenomancers who had like unleashed corrupted phenomantic experiments on the island, and they stole this island from the Utomple, and this is where the Drobates had a village as well, like right there. There's a little Drobate village. So this was all hex crawl, like these are normal tiles, secret tiles, landmarks, paths that they've established, and resources, and they hex crawled across this map and eventually find this phenomancer facility next to the flesh mines, the worst named thing I've ever named. Like, I thought it was cool. I thought it was metal as fuck that they were taking dead bodies down there and turning them into biomass for these experiments. But everybody's like,
Forgot.
And then I forgot about nerdy, horny D&D players. And we're just like, let's make terrible puns about flesh mines, about dark fleshy games. Problem,
and I caught that.
Yep. I thought it was fucking cool when I made it, and it turned out to be terribly, terribly wrong.
That's funny.
Yep, that place will live in infamy. The flesh mines right there. That little fucking hex is just, I hate it now. Yeah, so once this got cleared basically and the leadership of that group got destroyed, these Phenomancer experiments are now just kind of wandering there, and the Utomple launch an attack to claim their island back as soon as they know it's clear. And like the Utomple captain that survived was exiled from the clan because she didn't die in battle with her sisters. Like,
Howard.
she didn't get killed, and she woke up like clutching driftwood, and her ship was still floating, and there's a few people alive, so she tried to sail back and tell them what happened, and they were just like, you didn't die in battle, and they kicked her out. So she comes back after the party, Shades of Blue goes off and does her thing. Like, her thing is like she's trying to recruit the Utomple to help them eventually, because there is a big city right here, the Bay of DeGrot, this whole pirate bay that eventually they need to go fight. And they just found out that the dread pirate Geldrick is the god of greed, and he's been centralizing power and claiming money and power and influence in the keys, and like getting the pirate lords under him. And they just found out that he's the same person, but he's going off to take one of the last shards of the Aether Mirror that he knows the location of. And so that's why they've like left this area. They're recruiting friends, and they're going to come back and fight a huge war against the pirates.
I want one.
The shard?
Yeah.
Do you want to see what it does? I've actually got it right here. Hold on.
No, I'd rather not know, because then I'm going to try and derail the whole fucking campaign to go steal
Let's pull up a shard of the Aether Mirror. This, especially because you said no. I think Neun's carrying it right now. Neun usually is. There it is, the Fleshwalker shard of the Aether Mirror.
God damn.
I found the plot doctor in the TikTok. I
Oh,
linked
good.
it.
Please do.
We did it.
Please do.
We
Plot Doctor's amazing. Yeah, this is lore from 3 campaigns that these guys have been facing at the same time, which is like all of this is coordinated. 2 of the campaigns will have a finale together. Like their penultimate fight is fought together.
I'm so excited for that. Oh my god.
It's gonna be good. And then you know, we're gonna live stream the last, like the penultimate fight of the Monday game. I think if we can get everybody coordinated, I'd love to get everybody together, but we'll see. See if we can make it happen.
Oh yeah, Juliet. I told her probably yeah, but she was like, "Can I come to that?"
Mm-hmm.
I figured it was probably
there is an
yes.
Airbnb like across
Sweet.
the lake from my house that
nice.
That's really big, has a hot tub, like rooms like 12 people or something like that. It's known as like the group hangout Airbnb. So I want to try to coordinate to like rent that out, and I'll like put it on my card, and then you guys can all split the cost and stuff. That's kind of what I want to target, is something that's close and easy, and then we're just gonna like hang at my house.
Dope.
Just
trudge back over that way after 12 hours of D&D.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've even got friends that play in the Friday, like the live game, that they're, again, you know, the normal fanboy thing. One of them was just like, you fucking play with Zordon? Is it okay if I come watch the finale? Can I sit on your couch? Because he plays in the room where we'll play, where my D&D table set up at. He's like, I just want to sit on your couch and watch you and Zordon play D&D.
Can I just have this moment, please, for little me? Just
Fuck off, Bullet. I'm not that rich. I live in cheap Alabama, that's why.
cheap.
So I really loved in campaign 2 of Critical Role that Matt had that polyhedron that they looked into and they caught a glimpse of the future, right? That just ended up going into a bag of holding and being nothing. Yep.
I thought it was fucking nothing for so long.
Yeah. So I created the Aether Mirror was the thing, and then like I gave it this power because of that, and I wanted it to be like central and reflective. So when you hold a shard of the Aether Mirror, not only do you get the power that's listed, but what you see in the mirror, we've described that like looking through the kaleidoscope, trying to see the planes beyond Cyorion. So Neun is one of the firstborn that we just talked to you guys about like last week. She's a firstborn Earth Genasi from the plane of Earth. So when she looks into when she attunes to the Aether Shard, she sees her home plane, like it descends through the vibrant greens of the plane of life into the subdomain of the plane of Earth, into these like deep browns and rocky grays. And that's the colors that get reflected onto her face as she's communing with it. But when she communes with it, you get an amplification dice, and it's on any d20 of your choice for the next day. You can spend the amplification dice, which started as a d4, it's now up to a d8. But anytime you need to do it for a check or to hit, you can spend the breath of amplification from the Aether Mirror shard that you've attuned to and empower your roll. And you get that breath of amplification once per day, and one person can attune to it per day.
Interesting.
So it's a fun flavor thing, but they realize that as they pull more things together, it empowers it more. I mean, we could look at the plane of suffocating. You know, we've got the schism in here somewhere.
I'm good.
They recently went and fought in the schism, but it was fucking great. I loved that fight. So yeah, they fucked off out of here, and now they're the one group, like I said, that's doing fucking all the things. And I just built them the Southern Great Sea map, and this is my like biggest one represented in Foundry to date. It's fucking huge. Like, it's even bigger than Ashahoya Desert, and they have to come down, and they're going to come down to the Aragorni Towers, down through the Silvered Expanse. They have one of the few pirates who's successfully navigated the Silvered Expanse, and they're trying to make it all the way over to the Warissa Wildlands. Yeah. It's a big map, but since we do travel the way we do, it's nice because we skip days at a time. We go very quickly.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what is reverse help?
Could be.
What the hell? What is that? Yes, but help, this emote does come from this game that you're seeing right now. That's from our friend Allie, who just fucking has all the bad things happen to her. So much bad. They had to use she got attacked by a reanimated cockatrice. Forgot that she had like armor of evasion to dodge attacks and shit. Forgot that she had all the bonuses to like stop getting fucking petrified, and just like took the petrification, and like 3 rounds later realized like all the shit she could have done. And they found, like, at that point I was like, god, she just started with us like I think she had just started like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Allie was,
Oh god.
like, I think Mina had just started. So it was like Allie was petrified, and they found a unicorn horn, like some special unicorn horn wand that I granted. Like, it was the worst, most fucked up mean decision. It was like, hey, you guys get a wish. And it's like, we have the penguin, the Gepetan penguin, who had his daughter's dead, and you know, he got turned into a stuffed animal because of that whole situation. He could come back to life with his daughter, or we could literally unpetrify Allie, and the Gepetan had the one, and he used it to unpetrify her and holds it over her head a year later to this fucking day, just like still every time he's like, You know, I hope we don't run into another wish scroll and have to use it for something fucking stupid like saving our druid. They can't do shit. Who's now died and been brought to life. Or back to life through fucking through being touched now.
Man.
And that's
Why is Nightbot spamming?
because
I feel like this is
it
super
does
quick.
every so many messages. We can fix it later, but all of that was to say too, as we were going back over all of this shit. Blue's forest up here from Shades of Blue up in Galea. He one of the things I gave them was a item from, I think it was from the Griffin saddlebag. Let me go quickly pull it up here.
I mean, they do have the Griffin saddlebag.
They do have the Griffin saddlebag, that's true.
Oh, like the actual bag.
Yeah, I gave them a Griffin saddlebag.
That's so fun.
Yeah, they have so much fun with it. They talk to it and they like, and it talks in a very squawky voice. And it's like, hello, I can help you with that. Meow. Squawk. Meow. And then they try to put curse items in. It's like, no, don't do that. Meow.
Oh god.
So they had from the Griffin saddlebag, it's listed as we talked about in there. I gave them after Josh left on blue and came back on Yakul. I knew I wanted something to go back to blue eventually to fix his forest, so I gave them a spire seed out of Griffin saddlebag, which it's a legendary wondrous item. It's a tree seed that's a foot long, surrounded by a protective cone, and if you're attuned to it and you plant it in soil, it immediately takes root and begins to grow rapidly. It takes a month for the seed to fully grow. If you are dead for longer than a minute, okay, whatever. But really, it turns into a 300-foot tall, 20-foot radius tree that tapers gently towards the top. At the base is a large door for medium creatures to enter. It's guarded by a dryad that's loyal to you and whoever you choose. But basically, it turns it into a 300-foot tall tree base and starts to enchant the land around it to grow more forest.
That's cool.
And that was the whole thing was like, I gave it to the druid. She was gonna give it back to, she immediately saw it. She's like, I want to give this to Blue, like after he left. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what I wanted. And then like during her resurrection ritual, one of the players was like, I don't know what else to do, so I take the spire seed out of her bag and cram it into her chest as part of the resurrection ritual. So now she's turned into druid version of Poison Ivy, where all of her life power generates from the spire seed that's planted deep in her sternum.
Okay.
Cool shit that
That's a bad
happens.
thing,
It's so
but
good.
it is
I
cool.
fucking love it. It's good. All right. So we've been bullshitting and chatting for a bit. Yeah, tree seed. It's a foot long. It's a special kind of seed. When your lizard folk comes in, I'll have special seeds for him too. Don't you worry. Yeah, Paula, just fill out the forms and stuff, man. We'll get you into the game. Oh no! Don't tell me I really killed my foundry. No, we're good. We're good. Dun, 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 dun. So, we've been chatting for a little bit here, and I want to give these guys just a quick break too. But we're gonna come back and put some. We're gonna actually world build some deets here. We're gonna put something together for the city or a couple areas in the Thrust Protectorate, and yeah, we'll get prepped for some campaign 2 stuff. So thanks for hanging out with us tonight, guys. I know we didn't get to play, but we appreciate you guys hanging with us. But we will be right back. Yes, and Korth does have sharp teeth from what I hear. Maybe if you actually create Korth, we can see what he looks like. Don't know though if you ever make him. If you ever show up for Mateos. All right, we'll be back. Oh no. Hold on.
Oh, what have I done?
I was trying to play with the transitions and I accidentally brought us back. So we're back now. My camera's off because I'm munching something really quick. And nobody wants to see me eating things. Matt, you can take your stupid stare face and get out of here staring at us. We're trying to come back. Listen, Matt, you can at least respect why we were AFK for so long. It's because we got into a big discussion about Diablo lore and what we had planned for the future expansions while we were AFK. So I planned to go to the bathroom, but then we spent about 5 minutes discussing Diablo lore.
Time well spent.
You know, things happen. You know, you had important things to talk about like Diablo lore. And Sarah finally started Diablo 2 today, so we're gonna get her.
That's what Josh was saying.
Yeah, we're gonna get her in the clan so she can play some Derblers with us. Derblers. Oh my god, Derblers. We used to have some stupid Ermagerd thing. Started playing Diablo as well today. Diablo 4. Not Diablo 2.
All the cool kids have moved on from 2.
Yeah.
We're
Way
to
past
play
2.
2.
Yeah. So far past 2. Okay. I finished my snack. I'm good. You're cute. You're a lot of things. But you just go ahead and keep telling yourself you're smart, buddy. Love ya. Cheers. Matt is just getting ready to start his cyber career. Sharp dude, but you gotta tease him.
Fun.
You gotta give him the tease every time we can. So world building stuff, you know, the entire purpose of this stream, talking about world building and like how we actually build this kind of shit. We need to, let's see, we've got our season 2 world notes. Here's where we can make things that actually matter in terms of like creating things instead of just rehashing all the shit we've gone through so far. So friends, as you are creating things as well and making towns and cities and all that type of stuff, I recommend nothing more than looking at other people's town name generators. Because you wonder how I come up with my weird shit. And I actually went and like inspected the page source data for like for the fantasynamegenerators.com, right? Anybody who's written anything has looked into that. But when they're just like, I need a quick name. And I found early on in my creation process that like there's a really interesting way that he does things, or I'm not sure who runs this, but their generators will run a JavaScript that is literally grabbing different phonetic phrases and just combining them. So all of their elf names is a set of prefixes and suffixes, and then they just slap them together to make elf names.
That makes sense.
Yep.
That's why they all kind of look similar.
Yep, that's why they look similar. ChatGPT is also great, but you know, if you want to use them, when I'm generating town names and like trying to come up with this kind of stuff, I'll use a lot of those generators for inspiration, especially if you don't want to like be a person that just like, I'm just gonna go to ChatGPT. But if you want to fucking do that, do it. Do whatever works best for you. God, don't sit there and stress over like town names and stuff like that. I found it in the larger perspective of things like Busat, the city of gates. God, I thought of that name for months, and like the only reason people know about it is because I'm obsessed with it. Everything else is just like the Salmix. Do you remember what that is?
I know the name. I don't remember why.
Salmix is the lizard folk village. Lizard folk village on the coast of the Silvered Expanse. They were the people that launched from Salmix up to the towers, right?
Right.
Salmix generated name. Yeah. And then you think of things like the Jawarba Bluffs, right? Like,
Those are my favorite bluffs.
I mean, I love doing stupid shit like that. Like for Jawarba Bluffs, obviously that's Josh. That is my Josh place in the world. I've got the Casono Mountains, which is the last name of my friend, like manipulated slightly to be a mountain name, range name. Don't beat yourself up on names, like unless they have a specific, like Ashahoya, completely randomized. I was like sitting there making like phonetic sounds with my voice. I just like like making weird noises and came up with Ashahoya. Yeah. So
Dragahode.
Dragahode. Dragahode is a
Dragon
good
head.
one. Yeah, this island right here is Dragahode because it looks like a dragon head.
But I also looked up their name in a different language.
Meme towns,
And just
best
put-
towns.
Dragon head.
Cece's Creek is named after my new niece. Like, all that shit can be brought, and like we just looked at recently on one of the other fucking games, and I just loaded this one. But if we go look at those, like the Miscreant River, is an amalgamation of letters from two of our players' first names. I put them together and like just moved letters around until like it anagrammed into a cool name, and I was like, that's it, cool, done. So don't beat yourself up on names. It's the only advice I can give to friends, because God, I used to fucking like obsess about names and stuff.
And if you do need other generators for names, Azagar's fantasy map generator thing
That one's
has
great too.
has a really
Yeah.
cool database with like literally down to like specific cultures, and it will generate names based on that, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, I love just like hitting the full random map with Azagar's and like putting stuff together.
Bacteria is a really good idea.
Yeah. I mean, we've done some really interesting stuff in Cyorion with so the Drobates is a really good one too, because the Drobates, the race Drobates that are now going to be the Gripilli the Gripli when we switch over to Pathfinder, the Phenomancy Drobate name comes from the scientific name for the poison dart frog, which has Drobate in it. So we made the Drobates off that. Phenomancy is based off of the DNA phenome, and then we turn that from the phenome into phenomancy, which is a school of magic that has to do with the reconstruction of DNA. So yeah, find weird shit in other languages and mush it up, and or whatever you want to do, bacteria, Latin, like anything that you can think of. Just like, don't hang yourself up on names. Really, people are gonna ask how you spell it like 15 times, but it's gonna be great because you're gonna love it. And it's just like weird shit that you come up with. So like, let's try Chat GPT here. Generate 10 names for a city in an area of rolling hills and plains.
You can actually throw in based on this
Name
kind of
the
cultural nomenclature, and it will usually do Gaelic.
here's the cultural nomenclature of Gaelic, Scottish, or Irish to draw inspiration. There's a prompt for ChatGPT, and the 10 names we got back were Glenara, Ardmore, Dunvale, Carrickhill, Lofthorn, Strathmore, Dunscaith, Linesmore, Clonic, and Toracon. I like Clonic a lot. Clonic. That is spelled like, I'm gonna throw it in chat there. Clonic. But I also like Dunscaith a lot.
Dunscaith is a cool one, yeah.
I mean, like, literally that's the extent of my naming these days. Or I'll take stuff. What I like to do a lot is, like, when I run these generators, is take pieces of multiple ones and I'll make like Dunak out of it. From Dunscaith and Clonic together, I'll take those. I'll take the first like phrase of one and the second phrase of another, and I'll put it together to make Dunak or something like that. And that's a pretty common strategy for me when like coming up with names for stuff, is because it's really hard to come up with an entire language that generates into an entire like reasoning behind like this, why this place may be named this way. and Josh especially, like he and I have done stuff where we've like named something and come back to it 6 months later, and we're like, now it makes perfect sense why it's named that way. Because like you will find in world building, like it's ridiculous how much like you go back to something and go, this makes perfect sense. Tolkien ripped off and was discriminatory to a lot of cultures in the creation of his world, to be honest.
Yeah, there's that too. It was also mostly just like borrowed very heavily from like European folklore.
Yeah, and European Gaelic folklore, Irish folklore, like a lot of that was heavy inspiration, and he put it into a book. That's not to undermine his works, but at the same time,
a very good book, but yeah,
at the same time, you're just like, goddamn. So I do like Dunscaith, but I also like Dunescaith as well, with an E in the middle of that. Dunescaith.
Dune.
But then it starts to be like, Dune. So, ooh, what about like Dunescaith, like Dunne? See, this is where I end up in my brain, and why you guys are like, how is that spelled? Well, it got to this because Ben sat here and fucked with phonetics for 30 minutes.
How's it spelled? I don't know.
No clue.
Literally have to look it up every time. Like Ilgus root. How is Ilgus spelled?
No. You're asking? No thanks. Pass.
YLGIS. Ilgus root.
God damn it.
And they were literally like, what drug did he use to poison him with? Ilgus root. It's spelled like this. Like I fucking made it up on the spot. And it is now like the roofie drug of Cyorion is Ilgus root. It is. Yeah, that's quite frankly, like, how is it spelled? Well, let me go look it up in my notes. There are a few things that I remember how to spell really well, but like Yoxvilthus.
I will never know how to spell that.
There it is right there.
Why?
It's Doran's notes. Yoxvilthus. Yoxvilthes. Yoxvilthus.
Jesus Christ.
Because he was like bad dragon, like mean dragon in charge of this. And I was like, you mean this dragon? He's like, I don't fucking know what that says, but okay.
Sure. That's great.
So we've got let's see. Dunscaith. I think I like Dunscaith a lot more than Dunescaith. Dunescaith like sounds like I'm trying to Scottish it too hard.
It rolls better.
So we got Dunscaith, which is a great town name. And I kind of like Dunscaith a little bit more for like a hamlet, like a smaller town. You know, something a little bit more out in the plains, because when I think of character progression, and like I'm gonna pull this up on, I gotta look at my screens here. Let's go ahead and pull this up over on this monitor. When we look at Pathfinder progression, where is Archives of Nethys? Okay, you know what?
What score that provides in Scrabble? Yes. You just win. It's just that's the.
So experience, I think. Experience points. Look at campaign structure, experience points.
Always cute.
There's a good treasure by level chart. So unfortunately with listen, 148 points for Yoxvilthus if you spell it correctly. that says Yois fuck jibs. It says Yois fuck jibs.
I mean that too, honestly. Like
I don't have a dragon named Yois fuck jibs. Now I'm
It's pretty
now I'm
close.
going to have a dragon name. Yours fuck jibs. It's literally gonna be a monster that I put in. That's gonna
Just have it
face.
be-
It's gonna face Madoc. Like Madoc shows up, and then it's gonna be like you face down. They fierce him. You're like fucking jibs. Yours fuck jibs. He's gonna be like mother, fuck it, son of a.
He's gonna be really, really insecure about his name. He's gonna be like, "Stop laughing! It means powerful warrior and draconic."
In Bradige. And how do you spell Bradige?
Yeah, really.
No, no.
Adijj? Is it 2 J's at the end?
Bradige is Bradij.
Fuck.
No extra J. Close.
Damn.
You can have inspiration for the next game for trying so hard, though. So I mean, when we look at Pathfinder,
Sure.
like the thing about like D&D is in 5th edition we have that weird 1 to 3 level area of where it's, you know, you don't have really good power, and then like from 3rd to 7th or 8th level you're kind of like regional heroes, you know, you do stuff in that area, and then 8 to about 13 or so you're national-ish heroes, and then like 13 to 16 you're kind of international, and then 16 to 20 you're god status, basically like unkillable. The great
I
thing
keep trying to tell my players that. They're like, "Ah!"
the great thing about Pathfinder that I like so much is that they have this. I've got the party treasure by level chart up right now, but using like the alternate power gain, like the variant power build, where you gain your character gains over the ability to overcome like magical things, so you don't have to deal with the rune system. I thought about bringing that into these games because it's such an easy way to access the game without having to dive into the rune purchasing system, but you end up like cutting out some of the power. It still makes the approach the same, to where no matter what level you are, the challenges you face are relational to your level when you're gaining experience. So I've been in my mind trying to plan this still on the level of like going through. I've been looking at a lot of the monsters in the bestiary and like trying to figure out what level some of the powers of these creatures are like changing dramatically. And it's fairly balanced, but I'm still looking at it from since you guys get to start at level 1, I'm looking at it from the town hero's perspective. Like, so when we talk about Dunscaith and like working in a hamlet, like you guys could be solving problems or an overarching series of problems that leads to a solution around level 4 or level 3 even, you know, and spend your time in Dunscaith for like the first 15 sessions being heroes of that town until you start to tackle bigger problems in the region. And I really like the thought of stepping up the story in that sense, rather than how I did in the previous campaign, which was like we had talked about like all those story threads and seeing what you guys grabbed onto, but then it feels like you're facing the weight of the world's problems at level 10, and it feels like so much to handle. So I've been considering restructuring the story a little bit more to where, you know, by level like 12 in Pathfinder, you guys are dealing with things that are like for the national level of the Thrust Protectorate. Like you're doing stuff for the kingdom. So I'm it's weird to think about it, but I'm really considering more like, I don't want to say locking you down to, but you know, making those story threads within the kingdom and more prevalent to that area, and then uncovering something that makes you have to at the higher levels deal with those global problems. Because still in Pathfinder, like let's just double check here and like we'll pull up a Pathfinder 2 bestiary, 2 monsters. I know I've got it in my other links, but we could do like, this is the monster builder tool. Yeah, it's a monster builder. So here's some creature. Actually, PF2 encounter builder. So even if we, here, PF2 easy, that's what I'm looking for. Even if we had a party of 6 level 18 characters, the budget is based off of the relevance to your character level. So your budget is always like a good budget for your party to fight is 120 XP. Like that's a moderate fight for you guys. If we went to a severe fight, it's 180 XP. So we could take a 160 XP monster, which is a monster that is of 4 levels higher than your party, and that's what the relevance scale does, is it tells you to be worth this much experience, it must be this much higher than your party. And when you get anything over 4, it's like add 10 experience per person, right? That's how it's designed. So if we go and we add a CL22 creature, like those are some massive fucking creatures. I think
Right, it's like where you get like Balrogs and shit like that. Or Balors.
Yeah, I think the Tarask is a CR20. Nope, he must be
24, isn't it? Or in Pathfinder, you mean?
Pathfinder.
Oh, okay.
So I'm looking for him. Avatar of the Lantern King is that. So the Jabberwock is a CR23. Tarask might be lower than that. That's interesting. Just do it this way. PF2E Tarask. Tarask is a 25. Okay. So if you guys at level 20 went to a severe encounter, like even an extreme encounter, you guys should not be facing a Tarask. And that's just based on the just sheer damage that thing can put out and its 2 hit values and stuff like that. So at 18, facing one creature of your guys' level, we're talking about, like, let's look at the aspect of immortality.
Sounds fair.
Yeah, that's a CR 21. It's not CR, but it's a level 21 creature. So like this one thing is that tough for you guys, but then so let's dial it back. That's a severe encounter that's worth 120 in the XP budget, right? So let's bring that back to 6 level 1s, and we're looking for a CR 6 level 1 characters. You guys should be fighting a level 4 creature for a severe of that same amount. And now at that point, we're talking about a burglar, you know, and his short sword that's got a plus 14 to hit on the first hit, compared to level 1 creatures who are running like a plus 8, you know. So that's what's nice about building this stuff out, and like we can do something that's a severe challenge for you guys on a regional level, and it feels correct because now you're facing a burglar or a smuggler or a warden, you know, someone that's like a frost troll. That's something that's like pretty unique to a small region that feels like a good challenge to that group of 6 level 1 characters. And like that creature right there would fucking hurt. He does 2d8 plus 7 piercing, right? We've got all those fucking level 1 creatures or characters in Mateo. So let's go pull up Mateo's and look. And that's what I like about the system, is it feels so much more impactful based on what you're doing, based on the level. So pull up a level 1 creature from Mateo's, so just a character on this other screen. So yeah, the purpose is, you know, to get you guys fighting some stuff that's impactful on the regional level. So we don't run into the same story issues we have, but I can basically build those couple threads over a long series of time where we're dealing with problems common to that little area. And we're not, you know, facing stuff that's in a weird state. Oops, I gotta expand that a little more. Just go over here and grab a character. We're gonna pick on Monster Facts because she's in the channel.
Yeah.
So here's Eve. This is Monster Facts' character in Mateo's. Get some music going so we're not silent on the stream. There we go. So 6 people of Eve's strength. Each of them has, you know, 21 hit points. So this creature does 2d8 plus 7 piercing. That's 17 damage to her in 1 hit. you know, on its jaws attack. So while this is terrifying and it's got 90 HP, like this is a severe fight for you guys. We could bring it down to a moderate boss fight of a CR3 creature. And like this stuff is great because they've got these NPCs built out, like Captain Sala. He deals a D4 plus 10, or she does a deal 4 plus 10 bludgeoning, or plus 4 bludgeoning. That's a solid fight right there. D10 plus 4.
He lights out in like 2 hits if she gets you.
That's 14 on a singles, like a full hit. So I mean that's still considerable.
9 per strike.
Yeah, and they've got 40 hit points with an AC of 20. I mean, you talk about some of the things that like Eve can do here. Some of the spells Eve has. Telekinetic projectile will deal a D6 plus ability casting modifier. So I mean, with 6 people hitting for an average of, you know, 6 to 8 damage per round versus 1, now it still feels really impactful because 6 times 6, 36 damage. That's still, if everybody hits, that's still alive in a single round. So it's great because Captain Sela, the level 3 centaur, feels just as impactful compared to when you guys fight a moderate CR22 creature of Miracos, this creature here, who will melee you with a spiked chain for 3d8 plus 18 slashing and 3d6 evil. And it sounds terrifying, but that's what I love about this is we'll be able to scale this up from I feel we'll have a much better experience scaling this up in a regional aspect, working through some problems in the Thrust Protectorate, coming up as heroes through the system and not feeling like you guys are overwhelmed and I'm sending you all over the world. Just kind of growth opportunities for us and ideas. We're not picking on you too bad, Eve. You did well. You didn't die in the first round of combat.
All right. Okay, I gotta get going because I got a game to prep for. But...
Okay, I'm gonna sit here and build Dunscaith a little bit.
Cool.
All right, but thanks for hanging out, Nate. I'm gonna have to fix cams in a minute.
We are still on for next week's game, right? Provided everything goes well.
Should be. I don't think anybody's canceled so far. Oh, that does remind me, Josh, the scheduling bot. I don't know if you subscribed to that for like a year and it just expired, but all the schedulers died.
That is due to my card expiring. I will go fix that.
Gotcha.
I really don't think that's worth paying for.
I was thinking about that.
At this point, we're good now.
Yeah.
I don't think we should at this point.
It's all good.
All right.
I'll see you guys later.
Take it easy,
See
Nate.
ya.
We're gonna hold that one. Oh, Josh is pretty fixed there.
Zoomed.
A little zoomed, but still good. So if we go talk about Dunscaith a little bit and we talk about this as a settlement, I'm going to look at the Pathfinder settlement traits. Because they have these cool settlements. And so when you build these out using this, and we can do like you can use some of the online tools to help you out with building this that we've got up there. Let's see if I can make sure the stream can see it. Just looking at like size, population, like item bonuses that it'll have. Some of the things that you can use online too to help you out with that, between like Archives of Nethys, you can ping ChatGPT if you want to get like basic stats rolled for you immediately, which is super helpful. Like just like pulling up something here. I haven't tried this yet. Let's see if it works. So if you wanted to run through super quick and you just needed to make something really fast, you could define it like this in the context of like GPT trying to make something. And like that's a lot of information that it came up with by telling it to make a PF2E settlement.
Nice.
And it came up with the level, it's got a government, some notable NPCs, and some services. Like all interesting stuff. Like I told it that it was set in the Thrust Protectorate, and it made the Thresguard ruins, which seems like it's something that's made just for that. And there's some interesting stuff. So I mean, if you needed something to build from, I mean, like even using ChatGPT and giving it good references is an easy way to start. I haven't looked specifically at building settlements yet, but let's look at the stat block.
Pretty soon we're not gonna need a DM. Just kidding.
My job is ruined. It's all over for me. I've heard some people have started to do some pretty good stuff with like having ChatGPT DM for you and things like that.
I actually really like the idea of having like a lot of support there, because that was my biggest thing as a DM. Like just coming up with the ideas just felt so mentally exhausting.
It can be. Like I've had times where I'm just like, I have a list of names usually when I play, or like I'll use like I said, the fantasy name generator, or I'll just like jump into something and like Google be like dwarf names and like quickly come up with a list, because sometimes people just go in directions you don't expect. And then we've talked about extensively the energy required to spend a lot of time building something out and then just have people not be interested in it. So there's a good balance to like not working too hard at it. And that's why I like how Pathfinder's got this set up with the let me get this back out to where you can see it here. With these stat blocks is like, we know that it's got a consumption rate, right? It's got a food consumption rate. So that's how much food the place needs to take is a level 1. It takes 1 consumption when we're talking about like providing food for it. But its population's listed here as well. We know it's a level 1 settlement. It's 400 or less people. The maximum item bonus you can buy from here is a +1 item, and it has no influence. So I could, like on a hex-based system, we could come out here and we could just drop Dunscaith and edit. Oh, I gotta log in to edit this crap. We could drop Dunscaith out there, and it does not influence anything around it. And that's kind of what's important, is like it clearly states at that point, with an influence of 0, a max stat, it's like a max item bonus of +1, that size is a single block, which when you look at like the size number of blocks it can do in an urban grid, and that's for the kingmaker stuff. That's for people who really want to build cities, but that also gives you a good idea of like how many people live in this type of place and like what their layout kind of looks like. What did that just ask me? Oh, it's their Twitter page. Right. Here on. There we go. So like for a little hamlet like this, some little village like this, I'm like I would tend to place them a little bit more out in the plains. I think of big cities as being places of easy infrastructure, and the easiest infrastructure in the world is by rivers, and in bays. So like your capital city for the Thrust Protectorate, and historically this place comes with 2 of them. There's one up here on the actual the island delta, or potentially up here next to the lake, and then there's a second one on the bay. And it was originally Loxodon and Leonin that settled here, and then they created the Thrust Protectorate together, where the families ruled jointly. So they combined to have potentially 2 capitals, but we would eventually settle on one being the larger of the 2. Not a lot of ocean traffic, so for a place like this, I would probably lean towards the river traffic being the primary ingress and egress for this place, as well as roads coming over from Gratellan across the mountains, across the Hesso states. So like this leads me to be here. Yeah, I agree exactly, Matt. A tool plus human intuition and creativity is the most important thing. That's how I come up with a lot of my stuff, is like using a tool to give me ideas and then building off of that. I really like this name of Glenara. So we would make a like city marker. See, we can figure out what city markers these guys use. I think that's crap. Well, let me edit it here. Pretty sure that's City of Blue. So we would make Glenara City Blue. So capital city of the Thrust Protectorate. No articles linked or anything like that yet, but we would just create it right here as a starting point. So now we've got Glenara, something that's like a little bit south of the river here, and then we would have an additional city here in the bay. So we'll probably come up with a name for this bay as well. They have some sea markers here. Do sea green. We'll call it Haverfith Bay. Something large, not super defensible, but really this, like with the river delta there on the south, like this bay, Haverfith really makes sense for just a place that people come into. When you look at the trade routes of Cyorion as a whole, we've got this internal route here because of the pressure and the currents coming off of the maelstrom pushing people south along to the Busat Protectorate. But then there's this through the Camsayed Strait here, we have traders turning up north, and then as well as people coming down south, and they sail along the outside. The external seas have a much calmer current system, which allows people to navigate more freely along the exterior of the continent's outside or inside of Holderima, the frost ring that kind of sits at the perimeter of the world. So you end up getting these people that come in here. We had the association right in here that deals with Isadora on Mondays. Like this trade network right here through this river system into Wastemanor is a big place. We have the Bay of Kiath right here where the Kingdom of Kiath has settled around. They came from Galea. So they came all the way down this internal sea route past Busat, came down south to where it started to get cold again, came through here. The dwarves don't have a lot of great trade because they're so far in Comtarum, but this river system allows them access to some oceanic trading. So they have a couple ports right along the internal places here. But, you know, this is kind of where the trading takes place, like longer distance trading and like more expensive trade along some of these outer places. But because you have Haverfith Bay down here, you end up getting a city right here as well, which would probably be settled right on the inlet delta, simply because it's easier access to settle right where the river accesses. You can do levy taxes and manage people moving in and out of it. So we got a harbor here. Let's see if we got an anchor symbol. Anchor, nope. Bay. I thought there was an anchor symbol that I was using before. I guess not. There's one in Foundry for sure. Market, laundry, I was almost positive we had one. Port, there it is. We'll do a blue port here. So yeah, Coral Bay in the north there. I like trying to change up to the phrasing of cities. So like Coral Bay, port of blah blah blah, something, just a single name. Just kind of keep some diversity in it, so I'm not in just a single naming type. Let's just see what ChatGPT or something random gives us here. We'll also check the harbor name generator on fantasy name generators, just to get some ideas, get the juices flowing. It's like Moonlit and Tidal Reach all seem kind of like to me. Stormwatch, kind of neat. The piers of something sounds like something that belongs on like a smaller island. So something harbor or landing sounds really good. Green Coast Harbor, Green Coast Landing would be good, I think. Possibly, because the Thrust Protector is like all about the rolling hills. Let's look up hill synonyms. Knoll is a good one. Knoll. Ooh, Ridge too. Green Ridge. I think I like Green Ridge Harbor. Here. Oop, no, I like Port Green Ridge. There we go. So this is the largest port city of the Thrust Protectorate. Second largest city behind the capital, named Gelnara. So we've got Gelnara, the capital city, a little bit further inland, mostly because I'd say most of their forces and people have to deal with the Hesso states up there. It's like triumvirate Senate type council system with a lot of small city states, and they would probably want to post up like most of their defenses up in Gelnara to be a little bit more defensible. But another big location for them would be down in the middle here at this middle fork, mostly because of the traffic from the orcs to the east, interfacing through trade routes to the north to the Kashian Empire. So we'd have another small city in here. So just coming up with a bunch of like river words, asking ChatGPT to provide like a list of river themed words. Like Reed Brook would be cool, combining some of those. Let's see, what else can we think of? Like Reed and Marsh a lot here. Try and name the river first, it would help us out a lot. And this is the worst for me. Gosh, where it comes up right here. Like I literally was clicking through generators and I saw like something that looked neat, but it triggered another phonetic phrase.
Oh yeah.
So then I end up with weird shit. like the Carapal River. Which, what does fucking Carapal mean now? Well,
It's a person.
it's either a person or a species. Like I think of it. So we have Cece's Creek up further north here. All right, that leads into this lake. So this river that comes off the south here, we're gonna call Carapal. Carapal River. Blue river. Actually, I should change these guys to orange, just because it makes it easier for the Thrust Protectorate. The primary river, the largest river. So then we can take something like that, and we can easily make Carapal's Bend, which now we've made a little village. I'm gonna do orange, like I said. A small, medium-sized village. To the Primary Fork, where the Carapal River meets the Guinness. Our name for our other river here. We have this small Guinness River. What is the name of this empire? Kashian. The Kashian Empire and the Kasono Mountains. So now we sprung up this little ecosystem that lives around these rivers here, which is kind of the primary thing we're looking to do. Is like start fleshing out why these people live here, what makes sense for them. You know, they've got these big rolling hills. They've got this river system that leads down to a bay. Why did they choose to settle here? So you've got the primary places of ingress and egress and like where trade happens in these cities. And then now we can start looking at like, okay, so we could easily end up in Carapal's Bend or Gilnara or Port Greenridge as we're progressing to later states in the game. But how do we get adjacent to that? Like what gets us near that, that makes it interesting for us for gameplay. Couple interesting features. We got the mountain range and the forest here that leads off of the bay. So I mean, we got Haverfith Bay down here, and then we've got this weird place that butts up right against a forest with not a ton of other going on. So do we have a small port of call here that's not like as well protected? So maybe there's a criminal element that moves through here because it's not as protected as the primary river system for the Thrust Protectorate. We've got the mountains here, so maybe there's some interest for dwarven mining companies that have like maybe started to press the borders a bit and are starting to like try to set up a foothold over here. It's maybe creating some conflict, or they're displacing creatures within the mountain range that's causing some sort of conflict along that range. But I mean, either way we start, it still kind of like pushes me to a more central location of somewhere like right in like here. But Dunscaith. A small let's get a village marker. Or do we have a town? We have this small village. Do we have like a hamlet maybe? No. House. Like a single house farm. There we go. We've done Dunscaith, a small farming and horse rearing community. They live in the hills of the Thrust Protectorate. Underneath, there's a mountain range over here. I think that's the scaffolding. Yeah, the scaffolding range. Under shadow of scaffolding. Now we've got people that are just living their best life kind of like out in the middle of this town. They've got potential issues coming from the west, and then I mean that just opens up the storylines right there. Like when you're talking about world building, we've got a non-primary port of entry to the southwest. We've got a primary port of entry to the southeast. We've got Carapol's been. I misspelled that. It's Carapol. Edit marker. Typing too fast. Carapol's Bend. So we've got the town of Carapol's Bend, and if I was to think like DM wise, we would start with something simple like a harvest festival in Dunscaith. Ooh, there we go. They are not a horse community. Small rye and barley farming community. Lives in the rolling hills, the Scarlet Range. They specialize in rye whiskey.
That's my favorite place now.
And the creation of dark lager ales or dark lagers. So this is now we have a hook. I mean you got to think like, why is it always alcohol? But like alcohol, the invention of alcohol for humanity as a period, like just in general in our history, was a massive change in the way humans dealt with each other. Alcohol used by the ancient Egyptians with fermented breads and like weird, I can't remember the name of the beers, but they were used to subdue the Egyptian slaves. Alcohol was a cleaner beverage than the waters of many places, so it became a time-honored craft of like figure out how to build alcohols from different things. And you talk about these farming communities, like it's easy but cheap to sell grains as they're made, but if you become good at the craft of converting grain into a high quality beverage that people seek, now your tiny little farming community has a way to subsist within the Thrust Protectorate. Like now we have a small village of less than what did our ratings say here? Settlement 400 or less. Now we're looking at, 3 major distilling and brewing families that live in this multi-acre area with farms. And now you have an immediate level 1, easy to handle campaign hook of like, you come to this town, like everybody shows up here for their harvest festival and for the ale festival to show up and like enjoy the fruits of their labor before they sell them to the big cities. But as you're coming in, like the crops for next year have been sown and there's already rot, like someone has poisoned the crops that are due to come in next year. So people are concerned that now the harvest of this year they have to subside on for the next 2 years because somebody is undermining the entire town. And like that's 400 people whose lives are at risk and their livelihoods. They're not necessarily drunks. but there are people who live off this type of stuff. And
If our campaign group name is not the Hydra Homies, I quit.
there you go. It's a bunch of Hydra homies.
Definitely on that bandwagon, Buck.
It's great to have, the Hydra homies wanting to. I mean that's Carapul's Bend. There is Hydra homies. They live on the damn river. But I mean, now we've taken 2 rivers, 2 major cities. Export to this place is horses, grains, beers that are grown in the southern reaches. Especially since the destruction of Gwyer, elven wine is a thing of the past, and people have turned to whiskeys and ales as their primary drink of choice. And the Thrust Protectorate thrives on its own, and it separated these 2 kingdoms, separated from the Hesso states, and created this massive kingdom because of their access to barley and rye. Like, the things that people have access to that grant power is, like money and drugs and alcohol, and like those have created kingdoms in the past. In our very real world, like, they've created families of great power, and this is kind of the same thing we leverage here. We just look at what's interesting in the region, and we could have been the horse lords of the Thrust Protectorate, but like, we're talking direct ripoff. And how do these how do these Leonin and elephant people ride horses into battle? That's the tough.
You get bigger horses.
You get bigger horses, I guess. So, I mean, you start to talk about what's down here, and like Loxodon, that are like nothing would be funnier and more just entertaining to me than a temple of Loxodon Way of the Drunken Monk people that just live up here near the mountains and are just connoisseurs of ale and whiskey, and are these devout drunken monks that it would just be hilarious to me and just fun. And whoever wants to explore that,
I want Loxodons riding elephants.
Oh my god. Wild.
Giant elephants.
Absolutely wild. Yeah. So now all of the hops. Yeah. Now we've got something interesting going on in the Thrust Protectorate, and we've got a launch for campaign 2, and we've created a place that not only do the Leonin, the Loxodon, and our rhino friends, the Kashrishi, exist, but there's plenty of space for dwarves to be coming over here. Like, why is Dwarven Ale so good? Because they live next to the Loxodon monks, and like, they've traded secrets over centuries and like worked together to create these very different but very exciting drinks. And that's why all the good ale comes from the south. And now there's Cyorion lore. Like, where's your ale from?
Good ale does come from the south. Huh?
Where's your ale from? Oh, it's from Galea. Oh, it's shit then, because only good ale comes from the south. You get weird shit like that we can play with in just regular campaign chat. So, this, however you want to look at it, like, this is why we have so much fun world building, is just come up here and sit there and just like spew ideas onto the world, and now it exists. This is where we are. We have a river-based society over here with great fields of grain and horses, and just wide open spaces where these people have made amazing things. And I'm super looking forward to exploring the Thrust Protectorate a lot more in season 2, but that'll be a while out. We got all sorts of cool stuff to explore.
Well, I mean, Jaeger's gonna need some of that whiskey.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Yeah.
We can start flushing that out.
Yeah, we're gonna have to start coming up with the Loxodon and Leonin whiskeys out there. But we're coming close to the end of the stream time. Sorry that we didn't get a regular game in tonight, but hey, we got some Cyorion Chronicles world building, which we don't always get to see. And it's super fun to get involved in. But next week we'll be back with everybody for the big travel episode, I guess, as we head off to to Brisbane and start making our way to chase off in Mana, which, it's really hard not to call her Lilith, because I've been dealing so much with Lilith recently. Yeah, if you want to hang out with us, please join our Discord. We're always available in there, and a bunch of us game and play Diablo and other stuff together, so it's good to get to see you guys on an off night. And next week we'll be back for some more of the Cyorion action. It's been fun hanging out with you guys and building some world stuff. So thanks, y'all. Have a good night. We'll catch you next week. Thanks for hanging out, Josh. Love you, buddy.
Until next time, love you to you.
See you guys. Have a good night.